Hi there. Mankind is always dreaming of new complex ideas such as quantum computing and artificial intelligence. But meeting face-to-face with simple small creatures can turn into a desperate struggle for survival and maintaining his own spot at the top of the food chain. Autumn 2013. Residents of 3 cities in the Chinese province of Shanxi were subjected to several massive attacks by giant Asian hornets. The reason for the unprecedented growth of the killer insect population was due to the abnormally hot and dry weather. The poison from these hornets can be extremely toxic. The likelihood of developing anaphylactic shock and acute renal failure is very high. The authorities declared an emergency and called upon a specialized unit with flamethrowers to destroy the nests, but the damage could not be avoided. According to the municipality, from July to October 2013, 42 people died from the bites of these enormous hornets, and more than 1,600 people were hospitalized. September 2018, Greece. The west coast of the city of Etoliko was completely clouded with cobwebs. They were everywhere, in trees, bushes, and boats. The entire coast was simply spun into a cobweb, and this happened because of the hot weather, which led to the appearance of an abnormal number of mosquitoes, which serve as excellent food for spiders. These spiders hurried to weave as much web as possible to catch the mosquitoes. The web also serves as a great breeding ground, and spiders began to appear exponentially. Locust invasion in the modern world is a huge catastrophe, and in antiquity, entire countries would die out. In small quantities, they are not dangerous, but from time to time, insects gather in huge flocks and migrate over long distances. The hike begins as soon as the larvae of locust from the eggs laid on the ground are brought to the surface. They cannot fly yet, but they can move well on foot. Detachments of such non-flying locusts first slowly move only 300 to 400 feet per day, but every day their speed increases, and after 3 weeks, they can jump up to 6 miles at one time. Not even big rivers can stop them. The initial locust will hurl themselves into the water and die, but the next ones will use them as if on a bridge. Sometimes, due to the large number of locusts, accidents occur. Cars glide over them like on ice. Moving in this way, the locust gradually matures and acquires wings. And then, when the locust soars into the sky, turning into real clouds and hell beings for agriculture workers. Locusts are incredibly gluttonous, and adult insects destroy absolutely all vegetation in their way. In one day, a pack of locusts can eat up the amount of greens twice its own weight, which also means a pack of locusts can eat up to as much per day as 2,500 people. The annual Burning Man Festival in Black Rock Desert, Nevada at the end of August 2015 gathered 70,000 fans of the extreme show. The crowd was invaded by uninvited guests of beetles and giant mosquitoes of several species, who arranged a real hell show for the whole event. The green bugs turned out to be the most annoying and most intolerable. They caused a very strong stench that filled the tents and cars. They crawled under their clothes and in their hair, and they attacked them while they ate their food and when they rested, day and night. The entomologists still can't explain the reason for the appearance of such a number of insects in the sultry desert. In contrast to the giant Asian hornets, resembling miniature battle helicopters, direct relatives of cockroaches, termites do not represent a direct danger to human life. But at the same time, the damage caused annually by these ferocious insects on a global scale exceeds $20 billion. The poverty in which most of the inhabitants of the Egyptian villages live make it impossible to build with stone, concrete, and metal. As a result, their buildings that come in contact with the ground are constructed with wood, the favorite food of these insects. October 2018, the authorities of the region declare a state of emergency. Wooden houses and almost the entire village in Upper Egypt collapsed in just a week. Residents watched the phased collapse of the walls from the street. Part of the fallen roof killed a cow and later collapsed and killed a sheep and 2 donkeys, says a victim of the termites. Another explains, "Chemicals for pest control are very expensive. We cannot afford to buy them. Now all my clothes are devoured, and my family lives on the street." In 1956, Brazilian scientists crossed the European bee with the African bee to get a new species of bee, more honey-bearing and more resistant to poor climate. They have succeeded in this, but due to a mistake, the bees were set free and multiplied there in large quantities. And now, because of one small mistake, the whole western hemisphere of the planet suffers from these bees. They sting just like ordinary bees, but they only attack in a whole swarm, killing hundreds and even thousands. For this reason, they got the nickname of the killer bee. Already 10 years after the failed experiment, the first case of the attack of a whole swarm of killer bees was on the houses in Rio de Janeiro. The bees killed more than 150 people and several hundred animals. All attempts by rescuers to use flamethrowers against them were useless. One day, a swarm of such bees flew to a football match that took place in El Salvador. A swarm of wild bees attacked the players of the football teams and judges. The humming insects appeared suddenly, and many at first did not even understand what was happening. The bees began to attack everyone, and they even struck those with video cameras that were filming the match. Frightened spectators in the stands started to panic and run away from the stadium. The players themselves went to the ground to at least somehow escape from the bee stings. However, it was all useless. Most of all, the referee of the match got it bad. Apparently, his yellow t-shirt strongly irritated the bees. Today, the main problem of farmers in the southwest of the United States is not the locust, but the Mormon cricket. Giant hordes of 2-inch insects covering an area of up to tens of square miles travel across the vast expanse of states, sweeping away everything in their path. Global relocation occurs once every 50 years, but recently, the cycle has been increasingly failing due to warm winters. In 2003 and 2006, 3 western states were immediately invaded by hordes: Nevada, Utah, and Idaho. Insects in the thousands died under the wheels of cars, forming giant slippery areas which caused many accidents. They had to clean up with snow buckets. Residents have found a kind of way to change the route of these insects, turning the radio on to a radio station that broadcasts hard rock. In 2006, this method worked, but in 2007, some of the crickets became addicted to heavy metal and laid eggs right in the courtyards of the city. Now we have to urgently change the genre, the townspeople joke. Periodically, residents of eastern North America experience a massive nervous shock, and the truth is, there is little time to prepare in advance. Because every 17 years, a new brood of cicadas rise to the surface of the earth in several states. Having multiplied in a few weeks in the crowns of tall cicada trees, everyone dies, and their descendants go underground. The next batch to the light is only a few years away, around 2030, but not earlier and not later. In 2013, the number of cicadas broke all records and amounted to 1 trillion individuals. Red-eye cicadas are harmless. They do not harm people, animals, and plants, but the mating call of millions of males inviting females has a force of 94 decibels, and it becomes a test of even the strongest psyche. Recently, at the end of August 2018, the city of Taganrog, Russia, was attacked by hordes of mosquitoes. You can see how many of them there are. They just swarm. It only takes you a couple of seconds to stop, as they stick to you from head to toe. True, these are not the blood-sucking mosquitoes to which we are accustomed. These mosquitoes do not bite. These are the so-called green mosquitoes. They have a very short life cycle, less than a week, and therefore, they die in the hundreds of thousands and cover the roads with a thick layer. What you see is either dead or dying mosquitoes. Do you know what hell might look like for an arachnophobe? I think it might be something like this. This room is just full of spiders. They're everywhere, on the floor, on the walls, and even falling from the ceiling. What would you do if you were in this room? Today we introduced you to another horde that may occur in our world. In general, nature can give us a lot of unpleasant surprises, which we will tell you about. Leave a like if you like this video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.